we were the men in Hollywood, man. We had so much fun, and it's something I'll never forget. I was definitely the black sheep of that team, but it was kind of kept in the dark because people knew what I was doing, and people just kind of looked the other way, and we had a good time. And we partied hard, and we won football games, and a lot of us went to the NFL, and myself, I chose a different path in life.
Tell me about that.
So as soon as I graduated from USC, I got that alumni job. I finally said, you know what, I utilized the performance enhancing drugs to help with the athletes. I utilized selling little recreational drugs to help pay for my school. I had to.
Were you selling to?
I was selling to the fraternity brothers. I was in a fraternity, so I'm selling grams to my fraternity brothers because.
Not the teammates.
No, not to the teammates. My fraternity brothers are paying $100 a gram for something that cost me $15 back home in Northside Redondo. So I went to the Serenos, who I grew up with because I grew up in a Sereno neighborhood, and I said to my homeboys, Scrappy, can you do me a favor? I said, I'm at USC where these guys are buying that little bag of that white girl for $100. I said, what do you say? I come to you, you front it to me. I'll pay you a little extra because you're going to take the risk. But let me do something. Let's see what we can work. And he's looking at me like, are you crazy? You're going to the best school in the United States. We were Time Magazine School of the Year that year. He says, are you fucking nuts? He says, you're willing to jeopardize your education? I said, Scrappy, everyone around has American Express black card. They're driving Mercedes-Benz, BMWs. I said, I have nothing. I'm driving my grandfather's 1989 Toyota Camry. I've never felt so humiliated in my life. I can't even take the sorority girls out to dinner, let alone have a cocktail with them at the 901 Club. He's like, well, man, I don't want you driving with it, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to deliver it to you. Where are you going to be at? I said, well, listen, I got the fraternity house Beta. I said, right on the corner of Hoover and 28th Street. Maybe you could just meet me there, and we'll just do a quick transaction. So the next day he shows up, and he gives me a styrofoam container. I'm thinking, what is this, like a burger and fries, And I open it up, and it's 8 ounces of pure cocaine. I'm like, wow, fuck yeah. So I remember he's like, here's your scale. He's like teaching me everything right there in this card he has. I'm like, man, I'm kind of a little stressed about this. He goes, don't worry, you're going to do fine. Here's the scale. Here's the gram bags. You weigh it, you tear it, you measure it. It's 1 gram. He says, what's the market up here? I said, they're selling them for $100. He goes, undercut the market, $50. He says, you're getting it for 15. You're still making 300% markup. I'm like, 15, 30, 45. You're right. I said, $50. That's what we'll do. So I remember the week before Rush Week, which is a big week in Fraternity Row, I was playing football. I had double days in the morning. I had practice in the morning. At night we had film. And I told my fraternity brother that I was living with at the time at the Beta House, I said, I got a business proposal for you. I said, I know you like doing that white girl. I said, I know you enjoy partying. I said, what if I give you 50 bags, gram bags, already laid out. I'm going to keep them in the sock drawer. And your job is to just handle only our fraternity. We're in a bubble. You got to remember, there's 300 guys in this fraternity house, and no one's coming in. It's not like the police are coming in there. I said, just handle our guys in our fraternity. They want a bag, $50. I said, every 20 bags you sell, I'm going to give you 1 gram on the house. And he became my number one sales agent. He was selling so many grams. I said, I came back from practice, and he goes, we have a problem. I said, what kind of problem is that? He goes, we're out. I said, we're out. I said, that's a good problem to have. We just went through 8 ounces in one night. He goes, yeah, guys from all over, the SAEs were coming over, the tryouts, the sorority girls, the Phi size, the Delta Gammas. I'm like, holy shit. I said, I think we're onto something. And right then and there, I knew it was illegal what I was doing, but at the same time, I kind of got that rush that I had when I was crossing that border, coming back, doing something that I knew I shouldn't have been doing. And I kept telling myself, well, At least this is going to help pay for my school. This is going to help take that pretty girl out. This is going to help maybe purchase a new vehicle so I don't look like a bum driving my 1989 Toyota Camry. And I said, let's just keep it going, you know? And it snowballed. No pun intended, Mark. It got so out of control. I had people coming all hours of the night, 3 a.m. I'm sleeping. They're knocking on the door. Hey, man, can we get another bag? Hey, you got any ecstasy? I'm like, I don't got ecstasy. Do you got Xanax? I don't got Xanax. You got Adderall? I don't got Adderall. So guess what? I said, they're always asking for this. I said, why don't I get it? Why don't I provide this black market concierge that no one has the balls to do? Everyone sees these preppy kids that are scared. You know, they're scared of their own shadow. They're not going to go buy a legal gram of cocaine on the street or some Adderall or some ecstasy. I said, I'm going to provide it all. Fuck it. So I went back down to that border. I got Adderall. I got Xanax. I called this homeboy Scraps up. I said, Scraps, I need some fucking ecstasy. I said, I think I got a market for those. He goes, yeah. He goes, I'll drop you off a boat. A boat's 1,000 pills. I said, no problem. Next thing you know, he drops off more cocaine. He drops off a boat. And I'm looking at myself going, what are these going to cost? He's like, those are $3 for you. $3? They're selling them for 20. So I'm doing the numbers again. I'm like, 3, 6, 9. I said, holy shit. This is like business 101. Like, this is a no-brainer. Percentage-wise, I mean, this is what we're going to school for. So next thing you know, I'm finally like, I'm printing money at USC. I'm like, damn, this is cool. I'm starting to become the man.
You weren't using.
And I wasn't using. You know, don't get me wrong. If we had a party, I would do some blow, but very rare because I was playing a sport.
You were on the team.
Yeah, I was on the team. I couldn't. We're getting drug tested. So I was like, okay, I think I found my niche. You know, no one else has the balls to do this.